And it could even,
I agree, Ron. I think you put that very well. You put that very well. And if you don't have that inner self-confidence in yourself, the faith in yourself, that's going to be what's going to take you over the mountain that you're facing that seems so impossible, that's bigger than yourself. That that intuition of what it's going to take to get you to the next level. That's always key in any entrepreneurial venture.
it could even be said like that mustard seed. All you need is a mustard seed of faith, which the mustard seed is the smallest seed. But when you have that small seed of faith, and then you can plant it like we're doing and then grow it. And really, if you have just the tiniest bit of perseverance to move forward, which is really what I think that scripture was saying, then you'll move mountains. And I don't mean that in the metaphorical sense of someone's going to push over the Himalayas, but moving mountains in our case is really getting this information out to people and giving them
There was
another
a Miss America that, I was a little girl, but Miss America, and she wore a mustard seed necklace, which I've still got the charm. I got one myself when I was a little girl, and it says, faith of a mustard seed and you can move mountains. And that's what she attributed that year to winning the Miss America, was her faith in herself and her personal motivation.
It's like that saying from the Delphi, if you can't find treasures within your own house, how can you find them outside? And really what that signifies down to is know thyself and you'll know the universe and the gods. I was like, wow, that's pretty profound knowledge.
Wow. Yeah.
I haven't heard that, but it makes sense. It makes perfect sense that on an intuition level, not that I have to think about it analytically.
Sense. Certainly makes a lot of sense to me. That brings us to our next point: give back and help others. There's a different kind of happiness and satisfaction in giving back. No matter where you are in life, there's always someone that can be helped. I recently gave a homeless couple some food near the market I was exiting. In that same instant, a homeless mother and children walked up. And the couple I gave the food to gave it to the mother and her children. It was a very rewarding experience. And of course, that was Andrew Medell, must have been coming out of a supermarket and gave his food away. So that's pretty cool. And then, the homeless mother that he gave, or the homeless couple that he gave some food to, that homeless couple then took the food and gave it to someone else who was homeless. So taking time to help the underprivileged and those in need is a very rewarding experience. And I've done that before too, especially with animals like my cat Malefic, who is male. I found him outside 2 years ago, and I brought him home and I adopted him. That's just one example. And there was a couple of weeks ago, there was a guy standing on the 18th Street Bridge, right where you turn off of Pacific Avenue to go over the bridge to the north side of the city. And he had a sign up saying, "Traveling right now, lost all my money, anything will help." So I pulled the car over, and I got out, and I shook this man's hand, and I said, "Well, my name's Chris." "Oh, I'm Harry." "Well, it's nice to meet you, Harry." And I said, "So you're down on your luck. What happened?" And he goes, "Oh, man, I was working out in Alberta, and the oil fields aren't, we've been laid off, and my wife left me, and I lost my home because we couldn't make the mortgage payments, and now she's taking me to court." And I was like, "Whoa, dude, that sounds heavy." And I said, "How much money would help you eat today?" He goes, "And anything you can spare." So I said, "Here's $10, go get yourself a meal." And he put his arms around me, and he gave me a big hug, and he goes, "You're the only one who stopped today, and I've been standing here for 6 hours." I said, "Well, I'm glad somebody did. And he said, thanks a lot, man, and I will always remember you. And I said, have a great day, Harry, and I hope you, best of luck to you, my friend. And I came home. So, you know, that's all it takes is just doing something like that. And when I asked him, I said, you've been standing here 6 hours? He goes, yeah, and nobody stopped to even talk to me. So that you know, that makes me really sad that we live in a world like that, where people see somebody on the side of the road and they're struggling and they just think the worst. You know, I got out of the car and asked this man what had happened. Everybody else that drove by probably thought he was an alcoholic or a drug addict. So I think it's important to point out to our audience that don't judge a book by its cover. Never judge somebody until you know the truth and know their situation, because I could have easily done that. I could have easily judged him and said, oh, he's probably going to go buy alcohol or drugs. But no, I pulled my car over, I got out, and I spoke to this man, and he just had a string of bad luck. So very important to keep an open mind like that, I think. You guys want to chime in on that? I'm going to throw the ball to Josh if he's there.
Yeah. Well, I'm in agreement with you that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but it's challenging. But, you know, just like you said, do everything you can to reach out. I have a little bit of a, you know, if it was me, I mean, I probably would have given $10 too. But, you know, in my world, I would think that you spend 6 hours a little bit better than that.
Yes,
you know,
you're right.
There's a lot better way. It reminds me of my brother, unfortunately, is very similar attitude as the gentleman that you talked about. Not that, I mean, my brother has bad luck too, or worst luck I've ever seen on a person. But in addition to that, a very different way of using time than what I use time, the way I use time. And so absolutely phenomenal that you helped him, and we should all do that, because everybody's had a bad luck. Everybody's had you know, I've had my own challenges in life. You know, that's just reality. But good on you, man, for reaching out. You always got to help people and you know, find ways to help people out, because there are people that are just down on their luck, you know, and that can happen to anybody at any time. So
now to elaborate more on your point, when I go buy my beer at the Crystal Beer vendor downtown, unfortunately, I see the same people sitting outside of that place, drunk as a skunk, looking for handouts.
That's true, yep.
Those are the people that I refuse to help. And the reason for that is because if I give them money, they're already drunk. They're sitting beside a vendor. They're not going to go across the street to the restaurant. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think it's important to have a balance and a level of understanding that it's okay if you don't want to give money to somebody who's hooked on a drug or a substance. That is totally okay.
You could always go across the street and buy a hamburger and bring it back to them.
That's not how I work, though. I don't work like that. It's the same people I see sitting outside of that place every day.
The challenge is, if you do give money, and there's nothing wrong with giving them money or even a sandwich or anything like that, but the one challenge that creates is a comfort level for them to not go out and do something for themselves.
Exactly. Creates a dependence.
Correct. And that's the
Yeah.
one challenge that's created. I mean, it's a fine line, but you know, my brother's a prime example, and I hate to say that about him, but
that's okay, Josh. He'll never see this till we get huge, so don't worry.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. But he's a prime example that you know, for years and years and years, and I'm getting pretty up there now that I think about it. For years and years and years, he never ever paid for lunch. I would take it. He would call me out of the blue and say, "Hey, I'd love to go to lunch today. Should you want to go to lunch?" And it just became a very clear expectation that I would pay for lunch every single time. For years. And then finally, I realized that what I was doing was I had trained him very early on through behavior patterns that I would always pay for lunch. No big deal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's over time, it became a very clear expectation that, you know, so the one challenge that you have is that people will become expectant of these, you know, if people are willing to give you money all day long for free, for nothing, And I do understand that those people, it's not for nothing. Those guys give up all their pride, all their ego, all their self-esteem for that money. They actually have the worst deal in the world, as far as I'm concerned. They get money, but they really have to let go of a lot of things that I value in myself. I have a lot of personal value and sort of self-esteem, and that I wouldn't want to sacrifice that for a couple bucks. But you just got to be careful, because they can become, just like you said, dependent, and then they don't have any motivation. And I actually saw a very wealthy man, movie director, talking one time, and he said it's very challenging to raise my children and instill in them drive, because they don't need any. He had made millions and millions of dollars. They could afford anything they ever wanted. I mean, his kids they were set for life. They didn't need to ever even have a job. And he said his biggest challenge is, how do I instill in them a drive to succeed when they don't, when they don't really need to succeed? I've already done it for them. So, but he said it was challenging. So just something to think about.
Oh, absolutely. And I can tell you this, if I ever had kids and they were trying to live off my millions, I'd be like, you can go out and get a job. Well, what do you mean? You got all this money. Yeah, well, it's not all for you. Not only that, but you got to learn how to work for your money, buddy, because your old man did. Hello? This ain't no free ride, buddy. Get off your ass and get the hell out the door and get a job. And if you don't, you're not coming back tonight. And that's exactly how I would be. Because
I'm doing very well, but you're broke.
Francis, don't interrupt me, please.
I'm sorry.